Ever wondered what changes the Canadian government has made to its student visa rules recently? Well, you're in the right place. This video will give you a comprehensive overview of Canada's new student visa rules. The Canadian federal government has recently introduced several new measures aimed at curbing abuses of the international student program. These changes include limiting work permits for foreign students and their spouses, implementing a 2-year cap on study permits, and stopping the issuance of postgraduate work permits to students graduating from certain programs. These rules are set to reshape the educational landscape for international students in Canada. But what does this mean for you? Let's delve deeper into these changes and how they could impact you as a prospective student in Canada. So what exactly are these new rules and why were they introduced? Let's break it down. Firstly, the Canadian federal government has decided to restrict access to work permits for foreign students and their spouses. This move is aimed at curbing the misuse of the international student program. In the past, some students have been found to exploit the program, using it as a backdoor to gain employment rather than to further their education. By tightening the rules around work permits, the government hopes to ensure that the program is used as intended, for study. Secondly, there's the implementation of a 2-year cap on international study permits. This measure is also designed to prevent abuse of the system. Previously, some students were known to repeatedly extend their study permits, often without making significant progress towards their educational goals. The 2-year cap is set to ensure that students stay focused on their studies and complete their programs in a timely manner. Thirdly, the government is putting a stop to the issuance of postgraduate work permits to students graduating from programs provided under public college-private partnerships. The main concern here is that these partnerships may not always offer the same level of education and training as public colleges and universities. This rule is aimed at maintaining the quality of education received by international students in Canada. The changes also include a new rule where each province will be assigned a fixed number of study permits, proportional to its population, and will have to decide how to distribute them among authorized schools. This is aimed at ensuring a fair distribution of international students across the country. Now, why were these changes introduced? The main goal is to address concerns about false promises of guaranteed employment, residency, and Canadian citizenship, which have been associated with the international student program in the past. The government is committed to maintaining the integrity of the program and ensuring that it serves its primary purpose, to provide quality education to international students. These new rules will have a significant impact on provinces like Ontario and British Columbia, which have traditionally attracted a large number of international students. These provinces will need to adapt to the new regulations and find ways to continue attracting and supporting international students under the new framework. Now that we understand the changes, let's discuss how these could impact a new student planning to study in Canada. How could these new rules impact you as a potential student in Canada? Well, let's get into it. For starters, restrictions on work permits could significantly limit your ability to support yourself financially during your studies. This could mean less time focusing on academics, and more time worrying about bills. Furthermore, the 2-year cap on international study permits might shorten the duration of your stay, potentially forcing you to pack up and leave before you've fully immersed yourself in the Canadian culture and society. The new rules also bring about concerns related to funding, competitiveness, and processing times. With a fixed number of study permits assigned to each province, the competition could become fiercer, and the processing times might lengthen. The changes might also affect the competitiveness of Canadian institutions on the global stage. If you're a top talent, you might be tempted to look elsewhere, where policies are more welcoming. And for those eyeing postgraduate opportunities, the halt on issuing postgraduate work permits to students graduating from programs provided under public college-private partnerships could potentially disrupt your plans of gaining work experience in Canada after your studies. While these changes might seem daunting, it's essential to remember that rules are put in place to ensure the integrity of the system. Let's quickly recap the new student visa rules in Canada. The federal government has introduced measures to curb the misuse of the international student program. Key changes include restrictions on work permits for foreign students and their spouses, and a 2-year cap on international study permits. Additionally, postgraduate work permits will no longer be issued to students graduating from programs offered under public college-private partnerships. Each province will receive a fixed number of study permits proportional to its population and will be responsible for distributing them among authorized schools. Ontario and British Columbia are expected to be most impacted by these changes. The aim of these modifications is to counter the false promises of guaranteed employment, residency, and Canadian citizenship. However, there are concerns about potential impacts on funding, competitiveness, and processing times. In the grand scheme of things, these changes are about ensuring fairness and integrity within the international student program. They are designed to protect students from exploitation while maintaining the quality of Canada's education system. Remember, understanding the rules is the first step towards a successful study experience in Canada. Stay informed, stay prepared.